can become Formula One world champion.
I like the sound of the cars and meeting all the drivers.
The sunshine may be lacking, but there's always a warm Aussie welcome when Formula One returns after the winter break. Ferrari retained their championship-winning formula. Jenson Button and Takuma Sato look to capitalise on an excellent year for BAR. Fisichella joins Fernando Alonso at Renault. Australian Mark Webber moves to Williams with Nick Heidfeld, while McLaren opts for two very different personalities. Jacques Villeneuve returns to F1 full-time with Felipe Massa at Sauber. Jaguar becomes Red Bull Racing with David Coulthard leading Christian Kleiner. Ralf Schumacher is joined by Jarno Trulli. Portuguese driver Tiago Monteiro lines up with Indian Narain Karthikeyan at Jordan, now in the hands of Midland F1. F3000 star Patrick Friesacker joins former DTM driver Christian Alberts. So, with the drivers in position, what has changed on the cars? Renault's technical director Bob Bell explains.
From the chassis side of things, starting from the front wing has been lifted in a bid to force us to reduce downforce on the car. At the rear of the car, the rear wing has been moved forward, and underneath the car at the back, the diffusers, which is the shaped underbody surface that faces the ground, has been restricted in its height, and that fundamentally limits the amount of downforce that we can generate underneath the car.
But also in two other, what you might call more sporting regulation changes, where we have now to use single engine for 2 race weekends, and also the fact that now we're having to use a single set of tyres for the race, for qualifying and race.
How will the drivers cope with the changes?
It certainly will play into the hands of the driver that can look after his tyres. Maybe not push too hard at the start of the race, so you conserve your tyres for the end of the race, and I think that will make for more interesting racing.
But if we look at the change in qualifying, where now we have 2 qualifying sessions under slightly different situation, where both qualifyings have the same importance, in other words, the 2 lap times are added together. The first qualifying is as before without fuel, and the second qualifying is as before with fuel.
I think the new format is interesting. The aggregate time, I mean, it will mix grids up more. You've got twice as much time to get it wrong. So whether it works on Sunday morning or not, we have to wait and see.
But the weather on Saturday morning caused problems for some. Michael Schumacher just managed to make the change from dry to rain tyres before leaving the pits. But the downpour came when he was out, not what's required with aggregate qualifying. Takuma Sato was next to run.
Taku, obviously you have to make your best attempt, but you have tomorrow morning as well, so don't take too many risks. That's too late, Choke, too late. I couldn't do anything.
This crash at turn 8 brought the red flag out for the first time this season. Kimi Raikkonen wanted to improve on his time from Saturday, but pushed too hard and ended up 10th overall. The drying track on Saturday helped Giancarlo Fisichella to set the first aggregate pole position.
You are on pole by 2.9 seconds. Well, I made fantastic lap. So, revs around 5,000. Giancarlo, save as much fuel as you can, as slow as you can.
It's an excellent start to the season for Renault. With Schumacher 18th and Barrichello 11th, what can the reigning champions wish for in the race?
Praying for rain.
The new aggregate qualifying system certainly did the job of mixing up the grid. David Coulthard's first outing for Red Bull lands him 5th ahead of teammate Christian Kleiner. Jacques Villeneuve is an excellent 4th, while local boy Mark Webber is 3rd behind the Toyota of Jarno Trulli. But it's Giancarlo Fisichella in the top spot on his debut for Renault. The new season is eagerly anticipated, and as ever the Australian Grand Prix draws in fans and celebrities in their masses. Olympic swimmer Ian Thorpe mingled with singer Danny Minogue, while 80s actress Bo Derek got ready for the action. With only minutes to go, everyone waits to see which of the former teammates will make the best getaway. It's the moment everyone has been waiting for. The cars line up on the grid. Months of hard work and preparation are about to be put to the test. But already someone is in trouble. Kimi Raikkonen has stalled, so another formation lap starts without him. The delay is not welcomed by the teams, especially when Ralf Schumacher overdoes it trying to get some heat into his tyres. Raikkonen is still sat on the grid. Sam Michael might have nothing to worry about, but it's all go at McLaren. And it's not over yet.
Need to go down there with the starter motor.
The clock is ticking for Kimi as the cars are making their way round to the grid for the second time. Will the delay have caused problems for anybody else? Things look far from calm and relaxed at Ferrari. Finally, they all get away. Villeneuve struggles to hold off Coulthard, but DC has to be quick on the brakes. Now Jacques is being overwhelmed by the two Williams. With the grid clear, Raikkonen eventually gets away. Fisichella retains his advantage over Trulli and Coulthard. But it's Takuma Sato who's on the move, first disposing of the Jordan, and then Michael Schumacher. A move reminiscent of Japan 2003. Renault's interest lies further ahead though. Fernando Alonso wants 9th of Jacques Villeneuve, whilst Raikkonen caught up with Schumacher. Jacques raced at Renault at the end of 2004, but that doesn't stop Fernando. Jacques still has the fire burning. Flavio Briatore can't understand why Alonso can't extinguish his charge. Fernando's clearly pushing hard, this time surely. At last. The leader makes his first pit stop and gets out just behind Rubens Barrichello, who's quietly been making progress from 11th on the grid. Now it's Rubens who makes his stop from P1. He's gone in a lot less than 60 seconds, to the delight of Nicolas Cage. Giancarlo Fisichella has to get a move on.
Giancarlo, you have Coulthard 10 seconds behind you, but he's quicker than you at the moment, mate. He's quicker, so you need to keep the pace up, keep the pace up.
But Coulthard will have to fend off the Williams of Mark Webber before he can challenge Fisichella. Alonso finds Trulli an easier target and is now up to 6th. Michael Schumacher has been languishing in the midfield and needs to get back in the action. Now he gets into a tangle with Nick Heidfeld, and Ferrari can't believe it. But the team have a tried and tested solution.
Get a push, get them to push you.
Michael appeals for help. While the teams get their stories together.
Michael was in the right and Nick was in the wrong. That's how I saw it. I mean, it was a racing accident, but I certainly don't think it was Michael's fault.
Definitely I had a better exit off the chicane as he was just coming out of the pits. I think I was quite a good move. I was next to him, but he just left me no space, pushed me on the grass, and on the grass the braking obviously isn't that good.
Either way, it's game over for Michael, leaving plenty of time for further reflection.
I see him in my mirrors in a certain position behind me. I indicate that I don't want him to try and pass me on the inside. He doesn't accept that, he still tries and off he goes. You can't really blame him for trying, neither blame me for not trying to let him go by the inside. It's just one of these races.
But it's not a trend Michael will want to cultivate if he is to retain his crown this season. This man wants that title, and he's just made his second pit stop. He rejoins just behind Barrichello, and both have leapfrogged DC and Webber, who's dropped back off his earlier tempo. But this man hasn't faltered at any stage. It's been a fantastic debut for Renault. Fisichello's win in Melbourne makes Flavio a very happy man.
Bravo Fisico, Dave, bravo, bravo. Well done mate, well done, absolutely perfect race, well done, brilliant. That was really good. I'm really happy. Thank you to all of you.
A tremendous team effort has paid off over the winter. And Giancarlo can't wait to celebrate his first victory with Renault.
It's a great day for me. It's been a fantastic race. The car was great. It was a very good balance. It's the best start of my career, and to win the first race of the season, it's great. I'm really happy. I like to say thank you to all the mechanics, to all the Renault team.
It's almost a perfect start for Renault in first and third. Strong results for Coulthard and Webber, while both BARs failed to finish by bizarrely heading for the pits on the final lap. His win in Brazil in 2003 was in very unusual circumstances. This time there can be no doubt that Giancarlo Fisichella is the winner. This could be the start of a very different season from those of recent years. There's a Ferrari on the podium, but it's not that of Michael Schumacher. He'll be hoping for better luck in Malaysia. Sepang plays host to round 2 of the Formula 1 World Championship. Points weren't on offer for BAR in Australia, so by failing to finish the race, the team guaranteed new engines in Malaysia without gaining a penalty.
as the regulations gave us the opportunity to start with a new engine for this race, then that's bound to be good for us. It's going to be 2 tough races, and I think having the engine being out of phase with most of the other cars should be good for us as well.
But by resorting to technicalities in the rules, it suggests their confidence has faded.
We're confident. We got with the engine life at the moment, but clearly, given a disappointing weekend for us in Melbourne, then we took the obvious decision for us, which was to start this race with new engines on both cars.
No loopholes were required to put Anthony Davidson into the second race seat when Takuma Sato fell ill with a fever. When race day dawned, temperatures rocketed, sending both the crowds and drivers desperately in search of some shade. But the heat has already got to Ferrari. If they thought things would improve after Australia, they were wrong. Their cars line up 12th and 13th, and it's Rubens ahead of Michael again. The start approaches. And it's former teammates Jarno Trulli and Fernando Alonso who lead off the grid for the formation lap. There's 56 laps to do in one of the most grueling races on the calendar. Can Alonso keep his cool at the front? The lights go out and the cars make the most of the wide circuit. Alonso protects his line from Trulli, but Jarno needs to watch Fisichella. Ralf Schumacher tries to steal fourth from Mark Webber. The Renaults are first and third, and that's fine for Flavio. There's action further back. Jenson Button scored his first F1 podium here last year. Now he makes a move on Kimi Räikkönen. He's through. But wait, he's slowed down, and there's smoke coming from the car. He's slipping right down the order with a rapidly disintegrating engine. Jeff Willis looks concerned. And rightly so, this cannot be happening. Both VARs are giving out plumes of smoke. Button pulls off the track. It's all over for this weekend. Now he's joined on the sidelines by his teammate Anthony Davidson, and it's only lap 3. The heat is on at Honda, and Jenson wants to know why.
Engineering an engine to do 3 laps is not hard. It's the whole race, and you know, compared to last year, we've made a huge step back in every area, it looks like at the moment. But it's just not good enough because we're quick. That's the annoying thing, you know. Our pace was very good, and for the amount of fuel we had on board, it's very disappointing, but it's got to change, and I don't think it's going to change straight away. That's the only worry.
My first race with BA Honda, and not exactly what I wanted, but yeah, while it lasted, it was fun.
Well, I'm very angry, but there you go.
Kimi Räikkönen has very little to smile about either. His right rear tyre is in shreds. He'll have to make a stop for a new one. A tyre valve failure on the outlap following his first pit stop caused the problem, and now he's struggling to get back to the pits. Will the car have sustained any further damage? He makes his way back on track, but Ron Dennis wants answers. At the front, Fernando Alonso is making it look so easy. This is the gap to second placed Jarno Trulli. But Fisichella is slipping back.
Giancarlo, you lose a huge amount of time in the middle sector. I don't know what's going on in the middle sector, but that's where you need to concentrate. You lose a massive, massive amount of time. 1 second in the middle sector, nearly 1.5 seconds to Fernando.
Fisichella has it all to do, but it's all over for Jacques Villeneuve.
I lock front wheels all the time, and if I just try to be a little bit more aggressive and push, then I lock the rears, so not sure what to do. Oh, I'm having a hard time with this car.
Fisichella has not managed to improve his middle sector. Now he's being caught by Ralph and Webber. Ralph makes his move. Webber goes defensive, but Ralph doesn't budge. And his former team cannot believe it. Now Nick Heidfeld joins in the scrap. Ralph watches as Heidfeld makes a move on Webber. Then manages to grab a piece of the action himself. Now he's hounding Webber. Until Nick has a go at him. Eighth place Rubens Barrichello is under pressure from the two Red Bull drivers. The team shows real promise this season, and they know they must take every opportunity to score points. Rick Parfitt of Status Quo could do with some ice in the sun, while DC retains his cool and easily passes Rubens. This is something we haven't seen for a while. And it's about to get worse. Christian Klein makes light work of the Brazilian. Ralf Schumacher has dropped back, so Fisichella is being plagued by both Williams drivers. And they look fired up for the attack. But technical director Sam Michael doesn't want any silly errors. Heidfeld gets a clear view of his teammate making his way round the Renault, giving the Williams mechanics cause for celebration. But Giancarlo is not done yet. Despite the debris from Kimi's car, he moves left, Webber right, then they both go for the same piece of tarmac. The Sepang circuit is wide, but not that wide, nor is Flavio's smile. The drivers are furious. So what happened?
He overtook me before the last corner. Then just after, I overtook him again.
I don't know how he was going to repass me again. His tyres were absolutely finished.
In the last corner, I went through the corner and I saw him coming from the outside.
So he came down the inside, so I went back to the braking on the clean line. And he came straight in the side. He braked very late on the inside on the dirty lines.
But there was no possibility for him to overtake me, and for me there was no space enough, and we had the accident. It's not my fault.
I don't know how he was ever going to stop better than me, because he had no tyres and he was on the dirty side.
Their body language says it all. Christian Albers has a blue flag moment, but he's not the only one being lapped. Jarno Trulli is about to put one on Rubens Barrichello. But the Ferrari is not easy to pass. Finally, he does it, to the delight of his team. Barrichello, however, doesn't get a chance to claim that lap back. A top six finish is lost thanks to a piece of rubber that got lodged in his rear wing, upsetting the balance of the car and damaging the rear tyres. He's not the only one with problems. Ralf Schumacher needs a new nose cone. Every part of the process is closely scrutinised. And not just by Toyota. McLaren get Montoya out ahead of Ralf when he rejoins the track after his pit stop. Back at the front, it's Fernando Alonso taking the final few turns towards his first win of the season.
Come on guys, you have number one. You have number one guys. Again, you are the best. You are the best. And we show everybody again.
Fantastico, bravo.
After 4 years of preparation and 3 years of racing, Toyota finally make the podium thanks to Jarno Trulli. Unbelievably, they are currently second in the Constructors' Championship.
It's just like a victory because it's a first podium for Toyota, for those guys which has been working so hard over these days, over the past years, not great results in the past, and now me and Ralph, we are showing good progress, and it's all about working and being strong.
Bernie Eccleston is a man who appreciates hard work and is keen to see it pay off. Fisichella did it in Australia, now it's Alonso's turn in Sepang. It's just what the team have been waiting for. Heidfeld gets his second podium finish of his career, having started 10th. Despite his problems, Ralph scored a points finish, while Raikkonen only managed P9 thanks to his tyre woes. It's been a long, hard race, but he did it. Fernando Alonso takes his place at the top. But what has changed so radically this year?
This year everything seems different. Renault is always good in any type of the circuits, and I'm totally confident that in Bahrain we will be again the reference.
Former reference point Ferrari have taken a fall. Michael only managed 7th ahead of Klein and Raikkonen.
It's certain things that have to fit together. They have been fitting very well together in the past, and the others have just done a better job over winter in many areas, and we have to obviously compete on all these areas and improve.
But with another 1-2 for Renault, is it already too late?
There's always hope.
Never mind motorsport, tennis proved dangerous for Juan Pablo Montoya. A fractured shoulder prevented him taking part in Bahrain and allowed McLaren test driver Pedro de la Rosa to take his place.
There was no grip. On Thursday morning the team confirmed to me that I would be driving alongside Kimi, and you know, what can I say? You know, it's a big opportunity for me. Never expecting this to happen, and here I am.
Hey Gordo, don't play tennis, you're not good at it.
Ruben's advice to his friend may be a little too late, but he hopes the unveiling of the brand new F2005 is not. Poor results in the first 2 races hastens its arrival, but is it ready for action?
I have been sitting in the new car for 80 laps, and Rubens the day before for 95 laps, so there was the only 2 days the race drivers tested the car, but we have done enough mileage and kilometers to be happy to use it here and sorted out all the problems which would have stopped us. There's no real reason not to use this car anymore.
I'm just really happy that we have the new car, and I have to be precise to make the setup work, because the car can be, I don't know, half a second faster, and if I make a wrong setup adjustment, that will go away so quickly. So that's my job for the weekend. Be precise on the setup and be as fast as I can whenever it matters.
I think we have the resources, we have the human manpower, we have everything in our hands to move back, and we have a strong partner with Bridgestone, although they're being criticized a little bit at the moment. Never forget, we have been winning 5 years in a row together with them, and I trust in them. They will as well come back and fight hard. And I said in the beginning, 19 races, it's only 2 we have done. A long year to go.
But it was Barrichello that had a long way to be pushed following problems after qualifying, and it will be just as far from the front of the grid. The second Grand Prix in Bahrain witnesses Michael Schumacher's return to form, with P2 on the grid in the new car. But it wasn't enough to beat this man. Hot off the back of his Malaysian win, Fernando Alonso is on pole position. Third is Jarno Trulli for Toyota. He's keen to make sure everything works just fine to keep up the momentum from Malaysia. The lights go out and Michael slots in behind Fernando. But Jarno's still in the mix. Rubens Barrichello has his work cut out, starting from the back, and he hasn't made things any easier making contact with the Red Bull of Coulford. Webber tries to use the slipstream from Jarno to take third, but the Toyota maintains position. Preserving the status quo is the last thing on Fisikella's mind. He wants 7th off Raikkonen. He looks to have done it, but Kimi's back for more. Giancarlo has to be quick on the brakes if he's to avoid the McLaren. Now he's got bigger problems. The Renault engine is losing power fast.
Switch off the engine in the pit stop area, we restart it and we go again and we try, okay?
The outlook isn't good. The team put their plan to the test. But the message is clear. Fisichella is going no further. Renault suddenly don't look so strong, and Michael Schumacher is closing on Fernando Alonso. The Ferraris both carry a poignant tribute to the late Pope this weekend. For Renault, it's a tense time. Even Giancarlo looks concerned. But they needn't have worried. The new Ferrari has been losing hydraulic pressure. Now Michael's struggling to change gears. The team knew it was a risk debuting the car early, but they had to do something to close the gap. This time, the gamble didn't pay off. Could hopes for another championship be fading after all? The race leader's future looks brighter by the second. He resumes the lead after the pit stops. De La Rosa is keen to impress and tries to make a move for 7th, but he gets it a bit wrong and loses another 2 places. Jeff Willis is keeping a close eye on both BARs, who are both suffering brake wear. Takuma Sato's under pressure from Barrichello, but a mistake from the Ferrari eases the situation for now. Michael takes it easy on the pit wall, while Nick Heidfeld is slowing on track with BMW power fading fast.
No power, no power. The engine has failed, suggest you park the car. If you see a fire marshal, just stop near him, just in case there's any flames.
Right on cue. This detour suggests Sato's brakes are diminishing as quickly as the BMW engine. Fisichella, Schumacher and now Nick Heidfeld is the next driver resigned to watching the race from the pit wall. And there could be another thanks to Sato's failing brakes. There may be a shortage of parking spaces at this rate. As if brake issues weren't enough, Jensen has been battling gearshift problems and now has a very feisty De La Rosa on his case.
Jensen, I know this isn't easy, but we do need to keep the brakes as cool as we can.
Pedro has nothing to lose and his persistence pays off at Button's expense. The McLaren now has the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello in his clutches. But he pushes too hard. Mark Webber loses third with this spin. Kimi Raikkonen gets a wake-up call. Pedro's on the move again. While Alonso can't put a foot wrong for Flavio. Trulli and Webber take time out. Renault keep an eye on their rivals. While Ron Dennis goes back to basics. But the fundamentals fail Jensen when he tries to select first gear. He finally gets going, but it's only enough to get him to the end of the pit lane. And he's not impressed. One-time Ferrari test driver Felipe Massa has every intention of taking Barrichello's place. Rubens only managed 4 timed laps before starting the race and had to use Michael's setup, which doesn't complement his driving style. Contact from David Coulthard does little to enhance Villeneuve's driving. The damage ends his race and nearly wipes out Trulli, and he's a lap ahead. Webber's off-track shenanigans earlier have damaged his tyres and upset the car's balance, giving Pedro de la Rosa another opportunity. He might just be deputising for Juan Pablo, but there's nothing to lose as he moves up another position. Now that's a rare sight. But he hasn't got enough time to catch this man. Fernando Alonso has controlled the race. And Flavio seems fairly happy.
Fantastico, sei numero uno, bravo. Fernando, fantastico, bravissimo, bravo, 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 bravo.
Jarno Trulli takes second place, but the day belonged to Renault. Kimi Raikkonen put in a good performance to finish third after only qualifying 9th, while his teammate has every reason to be happy.
The car was very strong, and I must say the rear tires, the Michelin tires were very well. They worked very well in the heat, and I needed 20 more laps really because my car was in a very good condition.
So was he the day's superstar?
No, superstar is the guy that wins the race.
That'll be this man. It's his second win of the season and the 100th win for a Renault engine in F1. But his friend takes a moment to remember the late Pope John Paul II. Only 13 cars made it to the finish in Sakhir. Trulli moves up to second in the championship, while Ralph and Coulthard's points push Barrichello down the order. But how did this win compare to the last?
It was hotter than Malaysia, even hotter than Japan, and probably it's the hottest race I ever raced. Again, it's the third consecutive race that I have nothing to say, no problems at all, not only in the race, in the whole weekend. And this is something fantastic, and I never had before. So, I'm like a dream.
Trulli splits the Renaults in the Drivers' Championship. Coulthard is ahead of both McLarens, but Michael has a lot of catching up to do. McLaren leap up to third. Red Bull are ahead of Ferrari, but something else is needed to lift Jordan, VAR and Minardi out of the doldrums. It's one team's first visit to San Marino, but what 3 words sum up Red Bull?
3 words for Red Bull. Awesome. Energy.
fun.
This season they have shown genuine track potential, and with 12 points they have already exceeded the total scored by Jaguar in 2004 and have managed to bring a welcome sense of fun into the paddock.
We're totally focused on the job in hand. We want to be competitive. We don't want to just take part, but you know, we want to have some fun along the way, and there's a youthful image to the team, and you know, it's very much sort of work hard, play hard.
In a sport that pushes itself to the limit, Red Bull fits in perfectly, and now they have the ultimate in paddock comfort and style in the form of their new motorhome, the Energy Station. Does it have the desired effect?
Oh, I can feel the energy. You know, it's a very impressive structure. Obviously, it's here to enhance the way the team functions during the Grand Prix and how it interacts with their guests and the media. So far, I think it's been quite a positive response from the paddock, because it's certainly the biggest structure that we have here.
Italian Vitantonio Liuzzi steps up from Friday testing for this weekend.
It's a dream I'm living at the moment, because when I stepped into the paddock, I started seeing, you know, the Ferrari, the other motorhome was really similar to last year. And then I saw this huge building and I started laughing myself, because it was amazing. They did something incredible. I think you can see from the back that is unbelievable what they built. And you can see in my face how happy am I about everything, because this will be my first race in a nice atmosphere and in something incredible here.
Although the rule on Friday testers has been changed to accommodate Christian Klein, no driver is happy to sit on the sidelines.
For sure, it's a bit disappointing, but we knew it in the beginning of the year that me and Tony will share a cockpit for this year. It was just that my first 3 races were really good, and I thought I can continue racing for Red Bull. But that's the decision now, and I'm doing the third car on a Friday, so I try to do a good job there and help the team as good as I can.
How successful has the new approach been in producing race results?
Melbourne, we showed, you know, strong form in the race, and we were a little lucky in qualifying, but the pace in the race was genuine. But with both cars, we backed that up in Malaysia with a double points finish again. Bahrain, Christian qualified very well, was unfortunate not to take the start. David raced well to take a point, so we've scored points in every race.
DC spent 9 years at McLaren in a very different environment. How's he fitting in at Red Bull?
They have a bigger facility in their factory back at base, and they have an engine manufacturer who also owns part of the team. So the structure is a little bit different in terms of operating a Grand Prix team and functioning professionally. There isn't such a big difference.
Our expectations are high. We've already exceeded the point score of the previous team Jaguar from last year, and you know, we're looking ahead.
Michael Schumacher needs to keep his eye on the ball. This mistake in qualifying leaves him in the unlucky position of being 13th for Ferrari's home Grand Prix. McLaren test driver Alex Wurz deputises for Montoya this weekend and lines up 7th. Pole position belongs to teammate Kimi Räikkönen. Alonso is gunning for his 3rd consecutive win from 2nd, and Jensen gets back on track to line up 3rd. The start of the European season approaches. Can Jensen do anything about this view ahead? Kimi has a cracking start, and Alonso has to settle for 2nd. Jensen holds on to 3rd, and they're all through Tamburello safely. Already Kimi is pulling away from Fernando. McLaren wants payback for the disappointment of Bahrain. Michael Schumacher started unlucky 13th after a bad qualifying session. Now he's picking his way through the field. A small error is all the welcome he needs. Up front, Räikkönen leads Alonso, Button, Trulli, Webber, Sato and Wurz. Fisichella started 2005 so well with the win in Melbourne. but nothing has gone right since then. That's 3 non-finishes for Fisichella.
I don't know what happened at the moment, but soon we'll know, I think. And it's really frustrating because I didn't score points in the last 3 races. I have a very good package, and it's not good. So I'm just looking forward for the next one.
Raikkonen is relishing his lead over Alonso, and it's increasing. But the triumph is short-lived thanks to a driveshaft failure. And look who's waiting to pick up the spoils. Retiring from a race is bad enough, but when the win looked likely, it is even more exasperating.
We've had some long-range component failure on the drive shafts in testing, but this was a new component and was well within its lifespan, so it's frustrating.
Felipe Massa is hot on the heels of David Coulthard in the battle for 13th. But with brake fade, that move was never going to work. The BAR garage is glued to the monitors. Their feisty driver Takuma Sato's giving Mark Webber some serious hassle. A heavy fuel load has enabled Michael to blitz the rest of the runners, and he's up to 3rd. Always a popular move in front of the Tifosi. Jacques Villeneuve is on the attack, and Webber is the victim once again. The season really hasn't been kind to Williams. Brake fade or brain fade. That's the second run-in between these two this afternoon, and Felipe's not happy. The race leader pits, but if he thought with Raikkonen out of the way he could relax to the finish, then he was very, very wrong. Never discount the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher. He's been setting fastest lap after fastest lap. Button had no chance. It's all down to strategy and relentless speed. The final pit stops. Ferrari know the drill. Where will Michael emerge? Alonso retains his lead, but can he keep it? Neither driver is giving an inch. They get closer every lap. Michael keeps pushing. The tension is almost unbearable. It's the final lap. Can Michael do it? Alonso holds him off to win on Ferrari home turf. Ferrari announced their return while the crowds try to get that bit closer to their heroes. Bahrain may have been the hottest race so far, but surely San Marino provided one of the most closely fought battles of recent times. Fernando stakes his claim as the new champion in waiting. Wirtz's 4th place is some consolation for McLaren. Sato and Villeneuve score for the first time this season, and a double points finish helps Toyota stay second in the Constructors. It may have been some time, but at least Michael and Jensen haven't forgotten what to do on the podium. But was there ever a moment that Fernando thought that second place would do?
No. Always I was hoping for the win. After Kimi retired, I had only one picture for the race that I was winning the race. So I was ready to fight for the last laps. I really want the victory here.
So what finally got Michael and Jensen back on form?
A tremendous effort and work from everybody within the team. Test team, engineers, test drivers, Luca Balovea, Marc Genet. Everybody was just flat out working and on the limiter, and it paid out.
It's the same sort of situation Michael's been in. You know, we've all worked so hard since the last race to turn things around. And we have, you know, we're not yet on the same pace as the Ferrari, but, you know, they've done a fantastic job. The Spanish Grand Prix is next on the calendar, but events from Imola had to be cleared up first. When Jensen Button's car was drained of fuel after the race, it was found to be 5.4 kilograms below the weight limit. The FIA argued that the stewards were wrong to accept the team's claim that the car and driver weighed more than 600 kilograms at all times during the race. Even if they did weigh the correct amount at all times, they believed this was because fuel was being used as ballast, which is not allowed. Button's third place was under threat when the FIA launched an appeal against the decision taken by the FIA-appointed stewards after the race.
I would like to declare the hearing concerning car number 3, Lucky Strike Bar Honda, formally open from this moment.
We have a culture, strong culture of safety and responsibility and integrity, and at no time would I willingly allow the team to do anything, to my knowledge, that was illegal, and I have made this clear on many times internally in technical meetings in the team.
The decision will be ready for both parties tomorrow. Thank you very much. I declare the hearing closed.
The hearing was over, but it marked the start of a long wait for the team. Preparations for the weekend continued as normal, but the tension was clearly visible. There was nothing to do but wait for the FIA's decision. And the world's media was ready when it arrived.
Afternoon, and the world is just about to learn about the result of the appeal. If we just take a look at
the team received a 2-race ban and lost the points they had in Imola because the car was effectively declared illegal. The FIA won its appeal against its own stewards.
We pumped the fuel out and were told that's it, there's no more fuel. We then had a better look and found another 15 litres in the car. And when that was pumped out, the car was underweight. Well, that was open and shut, 594.6 kilos without the fuel, and that is an illegal car, there's no escape.
Tyrrell got thrown out in '96 because we lost all of the water out of the Yamaha engine and we were a kilo below the weight limit, and it was illegal. And that's that.
BAR Honda Chief Executive Nick Fry sought to clear the team's reputation.
I don't think there's any issue with the collector tank in the BAR, what they've done with it. It's the fact they're using fuel as ballast, and it's clear that you're not allowed to do.
After extensive legal advice, the team decided there was nothing they could do to race this weekend. In the interest of the sport, they chose to limit disruption, pack up, and make their return at the Nürburgring.
Morning. How are you?
Montoya makes his comeback this weekend after recovering from his shoulder injury. For the fans, the Spanish Grand Prix means only one thing: Fernando Alonso. Interest in F1 has rocketed thanks to him, and even King Juan Carlos makes time to wish him luck. He was out-qualified by Kimi Raikkonen and Mark Webber, but at least he's not at the back like Barrichello and Heidfeld. Can the Williams get a good start and keep the Spaniard at bay? It's a nail-biting time for the teams. But Flavio needn't have worried. The Renault is one of the quickest cars off the grid. Coulthard qualified 9th and takes advantage of a slow-starting Montoya. Juan Pablo comes back at him, but Coulthard's pride is at stake and he's not backing down easily. Never mind pride, the Minardis are stuck on the grid. Good qualifying pales into insignificance thanks to electronic problems on both cars. The locals are keeping track of their favourite. He's still second ahead of Ralf Schumacher, Webber and a very fired up Trulli. Fisichella is 6th as Montoya and Michael play cat and mouse. Trulli pits from 3rd. Toyota have had a strong start to the season and a quick stop could get Jarno out ahead of his teammate. But there's a problem with the fuel ring. It makes for an eye-catching sight. The rig got stuck, some fuel escaped and ignited on contact with the car. Fortunately, no one was hurt. At the front, Alonso is chasing Raikkonen. But Kimi has already made his first pit stop. Now it's Fernando's turn. He won't be able to do much about the gap to the McLaren. He's lost too much time with blistering tyres. But at least he exits the pit lane second, well ahead of Trulli, who did manage to leapfrog his teammate despite his refuelling nightmare. Ferrari's good fortune in Imola hasn't carried over to Barcelona. A loss of pressure in the left rear tyre forces Michael into the pits. But their troubles continue just a few laps later. He suffers a similar problem on the left front tyre. This time, the team cannot do anything. It's another poor show for the team from Maranello. Webber started 3rd, but hasn't maintained the momentum. Now Giancarlo Fisichella is after 5th. And he gets it. It was a worthy attempt, but Alonso couldn't catch Raikkonen. While the congratulations take place on the McLaren pit wall, the crowd's only interested in one man. Kimi Raikkonen lays to rest his Imola demons, while his boss puts his feelings on the line.
I'm a very bad loser, and for days after Imola, I had pain. It was really a tough race to lose, and the best emotion of all is that I can wake up tomorrow morning along with all the other people in the team who have similar levels of pain and say, okay, we've done it, and it'll put us in the best possible frame of mind for Monte Carlo.
Mark Webber failed to maximise his good grid position. Coulthard couldn't get ahead of his McLaren replacement, and Barrichello was the only Ferrari to finish. But from the celebrations at Toyota, you'd think they had won the race. On and off the track, there is always plenty to see at the most glamorous of circuits. The Riviera setting may look chilled and relaxed, but the tricky street circuit caught several drivers out. Christian Albers cut short his practice session after making contact with the barrier at turn 3. The red flag was brought out in Saturday's second practice after a controversial incident involving 4 cars. There were several versions of what happened, but it was Juan Pablo who took the penalty.
Well, actually, David came out of the pits and hit the throttle and went fast, so I just followed him up the hill, and certainly I saw him slow down, so I hit the brakes as well, but then ran into him, and that's when I saw there were 2 other cars going very slowly up the hill. I don't know why they were going so slowly, but yeah, David could do nothing, and then I couldn't do anything either.
You know, I was following Ralph out of the pit, and Ralph was already a little bit up the straight when he got his blue flag, so he moved over, but very difficult to be flat and overtake a car going up the hill, so naturally Juan Pablo had to back off. It's a feature of Monaco, but what he did in reaction to that is ridiculous. He slowed right down beside Ralph, went in front, brake tested him, then the concertina effect, and then Jacques coming up the hill, you know, unsighted, because you're kind of peering over the top of the cockpit and go straight into the back of me. So there's no question that sort of behaviour should be penalised.
He jumps on the brakes and then Jack hits him.
No, but DC didn't jump on the brakes. DC got hit when he moved from path to path Ralph. Yeah. He was behind Ralph. Yeah. And when Jack was coming up the hill, DC...
I was going up the hill. I was probably a very nose. I nearly actually, Ralph cut in front of me and nearly hit me. And actually, when he moved out, I moved in front of him. But the only reason I moved in front of him is to let Villeneuve behind, because the team actually informed me Villeneuve was right behind me as I started the lap. And the people assume I did a brake test. But the only real reason I move off is to avoid an accident, to create one. And if you really look at it, the only person that really moved off and created the accident was Coulthard.
We have the GPDA meetings, of which he now doesn't attend, where all the drivers are there, and our primary concern is of safety, because we'll go and thrash each other on the track as you would expect in racing, but we want to do it in a safe environment, and when you do things like that, it's just mindless.
Well, he was simply off, and like he's a character. Obviously, he needed to tell me that in that moment. It's a shame for him, because he could have been well qualifying and do a good job this weekend.
The same could be said of Ralph after a spirited qualifying session.
I always had a bit of understeer there, so that's why I this time decided to turn in a little bit sharper. And well, unfortunately, this time the car did turn in more than I expected. I mean, it was only by a couple of centimeters anyway, but it just was enough to touch the barrier. I mean, it was obviously not very nice. Could have done something else on a Saturday afternoon, but that's the way it is.
Not content with Cosworth power, Red Bull Racing got some extra help from the dark side for the race weekend. If the menacing presence of stormtroopers wasn't enough, legendary creator George Lucas had some stern words for the team.
If we're not on the podium today, Darth Vader, if you get on the podium, the galaxy is yours.
Sunday morning in Monaco brings out the glamorous girls and the good-looking footballers. And even a few old faces return to wish old friends the best. In Monaco, the sunshine brings a smile to everyone's face. Particularly for McLaren, with a diamond-encrusted helmet for poleman Raikkonen. Kimi has no problems off the start. Webber loses 2 places, while Alonso looks for a way past. But there isn't one. Coulthard is 7th. But he slows. And Schumacher smacks into the back of him. A sideways moment at Mirabeau for Albers creates quite a traffic jam. The roadblock brings out the safety car. While Coulthard is left to explain what force took him out. Kimi still leads after the restart, but now he has to pit. He needn't worry, his nearest rival is Fernando Alonso, and he's busy keeping the 2 Williams at bay. Michael's pit stop leaves him stuck behind the Red Bull of Liuzzi. But it will take a stronger power than that to hold Michael back. Allying with the dark side has not been successful. Now Liuzzi crashes into the barrier. Montoya was deemed responsible for the crash on Friday and started 16th. It was just the incentive he needs to stage a fight back to 7th. But there's 2 cars off in the background. Unbelievable. Villeneuve nearly takes out his teammate. Montoya is really on the attack. Jarno makes the most of Fisichella's mistake into Mirabeau to take 5th at the hairpin. But the Renault's got rear tyre problems and he's struggling to keep it on track. Jarno hit the curbs heavily and is having trouble with the handling. Juan Pablo doesn't need asking twice. Neither does teammate Ralf Schumacher, or Rubens Barrichello, or Michael Schumacher. The last pit stop saw Nick Heidfeld get ahead of his teammate Webber, and now they are both hounding the Renault of Alonso. It's a brilliant move from Heidfeld for 2nd. There's nothing Renault can do. Now Webber's going for it. It was a valiant effort, but with 10 laps remaining, Webber is up to 3rd. Both Renaults have suffered tremendous rear tyre wear, and it shows. There's quite a queue behind Fernando. Now there's some inter-team action at Ferrari. Michael steals 7th off Rubens. But they're miles off this man. Kimi Räikkönen takes his 2nd consecutive win. Alonso just about keeps it on track to stay 4th, but Michael doesn't want to stay put. He wins himself no fans trying to sneak past his brother for 6th. This man has plenty of fans. He's got diamonds in his helmet and he's the winner at F1's Jewel in the Crown. While Nick Heidfeld is the star of the day for Williams.
I'm very happy, I think so. In the end, this is just the same race. You get 10 points from this race, but it's a special place, and everybody looks you maybe a slightly different way when you win in Monaco. And it's for sure we will have a good party today.
It's Nick Heidfeld's best ever Formula One finish and Webber's first time on the podium. Ralph did well to finish 6th, and Albers made it to the finish despite his risky encounter early on. Raikkonen edges closer to Alonso, while the two Williams are ahead of some pretty big names. Toyota remain consistent despite the strength of Renault and McLaren, while Ferrari can only manage 5th. It looks like the McLaren party has started already, but it's Paris Hilton who's at the centre of attention.
Next time on the 2005 season review, F1 leaves behind the glamour of Monaco for the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring. Can Kimi Raikkonen make it 3 wins in a row? Find out on Sky Sports F1 HD.
This is Sky Sports F1 HD.
Welcome to part 2 of the 2005 F1 season review. So far it's been an impressive year for Fernando Alonso. He leads the championship by 22 points, but Kimi Raikkonen reinforced his title aspirations by winning in Spain and Monaco as the teams gear up for round 7.
F1 moves straight to the Nürburgring in Germany for the European Grand Prix. Drivers should be glad they don't get paid by the hour now that aggregate qualifying is no more. Instead, there'll be one session of single lap qualifying on race fuel levels. The running order is still determined by the results of the previous race. The change works well for Williams, with their drivers first and second. Until Kimi Raikkonen came out. But he couldn't beat them both.
It is special. It's definitely fantastic having my first pole position in Formula 1, but to see on my home Grand Prix at Nürburgring is even more outstanding. But to be honest, I think I didn't yet realize, because I didn't expect to be there. I thought probably we could go on the second row.
BAR returned to the grid after their 2-race suspension, but Jenson Button could only manage 13th and his teammate 16th. Toyota have got problems firing up Trulli's engine, and the mechanics are still on the grid with 15 seconds to go. The engine noises are rising and the formation lap gets underway. Everyone rushes to their positions for the start. The championship leader has a heavy fuel load, but he still needs to push from 6th. The McLarens are flying. Raikkonen snatches the lead from Heidfeld. Alonso makes a move on Webber, but Mark keeps him at bay and gets in a tangle with Montoya, causing carnage. Webber was slow off the grid and on the defensive. Montoya was flying, then there were cars everywhere. Cracked suspension leaves Webber on foot, and there's plenty of debris to be cleared. Raikkonen leads Heidfeld, Trulli, Coulthard and Alonso. But Ferrari are interested in the battle for 8th. Barrichello is reeling in the BAR of Button. A little mistake and Jenson's right back at him. And Juan Pablo is waiting in the wings. Neither driver gives up. But eventually it's Rubens that does it. McLaren know Montoya has a chance. And he's going to take it. Schumacher's Ferrari is lurking in the background, but squabbling over 10th is far from where Ferrari want to be. BAR looked quick in testing, but not so this weekend. After the first round of pit stops, Raikkonen still leads Heidfeld. The gap looks small, but the Williams is 3 stopping. Alonso isn't too far behind thanks to a long first stint. But Raikkonen seems to be in trouble. He runs wide and loses the lead to Heidfeld. It should only be temporary, as the Williams is due in the pits again and looks good for a podium finish at his home Grand Prix. But the Nürburgring has never been kind to Ralph. Renault sense problems at McLaren and tell Alonso to pick up the pace. But he mustn't get carried away. He makes his final stop from the lead. But he soon has to hand it back to Kimi. McLaren look to have it in the bag. Or do they? Kimi flat-spotted his right front tyre lapping Villeneuve, and his car is suffering severe vibrations. McLaren have 2 choices: change the tyre and hand the victory to Alonso, or try and make it to the finish. Both Raikkonen and his team agree. They want this win. But so does Alonso. Kimi can see the problem with his tyre, but it's the final lap. Can it just hold on? A mere 4 kilometres from the flag makes it even more painful. The high levels of vibration damaged his suspension, and he narrowly missed Button. He was lucky not to sustain any injuries. As Kimi walks away from the wreckage, Fernando Alonso wins his 4th race of the year, thanks to strategy and a whole lot of luck. The hard work paid off for 3 stopping Heidfeld and Barrichello. Coulthard narrowly missed out on a podium thanks to a penalty and truly did well to fight back after his grid infringement. It's all smiles for Renault, but what about McLaren?
Neither us nor the team have any regrets of going for it, because a 3rd place or a 4th place, if we had pitted, A, wouldn't have been automatic, because I think there would have been dispute whether the tyre was safe or unsafe, but more importantly, the points differential would have been relatively small, and we're here to try and win the World Championship.
But championships can easily be lost in this way. While McLaren take every risk possible, it looks increasingly like this man could beat them to it. A short break from Europe brings F1 to Canada, a country synonymous with the name Villeneuve. With racing in his blood, Jack was always going to make headlines. The 1995 IndyCar Championship winner became one of only 4 drivers to take pole position on their F1 debut. 1997 saw him take 10 pole positions and 7 race wins en route to the championship. And of course there was that infamous showdown with Michael Schumacher in Jerez. He's now back full-time. So how has the sport changed over the years?
Some characters have gone from the paddock, which is always sad. But it looks like it's become a little bit more human in the last 2 or 3 years. Much more relaxed, and people talk more openly, so that's a nice side. And this year the racing seems to be better, so that's great.
But after achieving so much, so young, what pushes him these days?
Well, the aims are to get back there, of course, but you also have to be realistic and know what is possible. And right now we're not in a position to fight at the front.
Montreal has not been kind to Jacques with only 3 finishes in 9 years. Is there greater pressure as it's his home race?
There's always a lot of pressure, of course, because this is my home race. But right now we don't have a competitive car, so there's very little we can do, and we know it from before the weekend, so the pressure is very low.
After 8 non-finishes, Jacques made his shock departure from BAR in 2003, before the last race in Japan. 2004 looked pretty bleak. But Renault threw him a lifeline, taking Jarno Trulli's seat for the last 3 races.
Oh, it was great. You know, it's much better to drive the race cars and race than to watch it on TV.
Sauber signed him up on a 2-year contract from 2005, and in Imola the hard work paid off as he scored his first points for the team.
It felt great because it was a fun race. It was a strong race from us. The qualifying was okay, and then the race was really strong, so it was a great feeling.
But what about this weekend? Could anything make life easier?
It would be nice to have a little bit of rain for once, because when you're running at the back of the grid, then rain cannot make it worse for you. It can only make it better.
The rain did not arrive for qualifying, but P8 wasn't a bad effort considering only the top runners lie ahead of him. What would Sunday bring? Race day brought the usual hustle and bustle of famous faces to the grid. Jenson Button's qualifying time puts him just ahead of Michael Schumacher and Fernando Alonso. Rubens Barrichello starts from the pit lane following a gearbox problem on Saturday. This could be Jenson's best chance to win his first Grand Prix. His start isn't good and definitely not enough to beat the Renaults. Now it's Fisichella in the lead. Schumacher is having a torrid time, slipping right back behind the McLarens. Nick Fry can only watch as Takuma Sato goes into combat with Jarno Trulli and loses. Meanwhile, Renault are monitoring the timing pages.
Giancarlo, we need more, please. We need you to push a bit more. Fernando is quicker behind you, but come on, push, mate, push, push. I am much quicker. Okay, Fernando, we've told Fizzy you're faster. Maintain position at the moment, mate.
And that's exactly what he does. For the moment. Fisichella still clings to his lead from Alonso, but closing in on them, it's the McLarens of Montoya and Raikkonen. Backmarkers are playing their part. Sato's race ends in the pit lane thanks to a lack of gearbox oil pressure. While Fisichella makes a good stop from the lead. He's joined in the pit lane by third-placed Montoya. Juan Pablo gets the green light to go and charges after the Renault. Is it enough to get him ahead of Alonso and into second place? Well, it might have been. The top 3 remain the same after the first round of pit stops, but the McLarens are spoiling for a fight. The Renaults can't afford to back off now. But Fisichella is beginning to get in the way.
Now I arrive to him. What more I have to do? We understand. We know you're quicker. Overtake him.
It's an easy manoeuvre, maybe too easy.
Giancarlo, we're losing hydraulic pressure. Just be careful of your gear shifting. Mate, it doesn't work. I know, we've lost hydraulics. come in, mate, come in. Very, very sorry, mate.
The problem is terminal. The team cannot believe his luck. While Giancarlo can't believe another victory is lost. He is furious. Alonso leads Montoya, but gets it so wrong. He's hit the wall. Surely that's damaged the car. It certainly handed Montoya the lead. And Briatore can't bear to look. The team prepare for Fernando, but will a new tyre be enough, or has he done more harm? It's no good. His suspension is broken. Game over. So the ball is back in McLaren's court now. Montoya leads his teammate Raikkonen. And it certainly looks better for Michael Schumacher after his terrible start. With the Renaults out of the way, he's fourth, pursuing Jenson Button. The podium may be in reach after all. But it's out of the question for Jenson when he smacks into the wall of champions. The safety car comes out while the VAR is retrieved, but the race leader has already passed pit entry. And he vents his frustration at the team. He'll have to do a complete lap before stopping. Raikkonen does have the chance to make a stop. This could be the deciding factor in the race. Now Montoya comes in, while Button's car is cleared from the track. Juan Pablo's very keen to make up some ground, but he'll have to wait for the pack to pass. A red light does mean stop, but he's not interested. He's straight on the gas. And even tries a bit of force. That's just not allowed. He gets the black flag and is disqualified from the race. The crowd loses the chance to see a trademark storm through the field by Montoya. While the team failed to capitalise on Renault's bad day. Montoya had better collect his thoughts. It looks like Ron wants a word. So, after 3 race leaders, Raikkonen takes his turn at the front, and Michael Schumacher is closing. Brake failure leaves third place Jarno Trulli walking home with only 8 laps remaining. Michael's closed the gap, but it's not enough to deprive Kimi Raikkonen of the win in Montreal. He kept his cool and watched as his challengers fell by the wayside, ensuring McLaren take a step closer to Renault in the Constructors' Championship. But Felipe Massa isn't quite done yet. He holds off Mark Webber for a well-deserved 4th. And he's delighted. But no more than this man. Kimi Raikkonen avoided the leader's jinx to celebrate his 3rd win of the season. There was a high rate of attrition in Montreal. Rubens produced a storming drive to 3rd after starting in the pit lane. Ralph finished 6th ahead of the 2 Red Bull cars and local favourite, Jacques Villeneuve. But what about the Renaults?
2 totally different problems. A very rare hydraulic failure on Giancarlo's car and a trivial part, an O-ring, you know, a 2-cent O-ring that failed. Fernando, pushing hard, made a mistake. I don't want to criticise Fernando for what happened. He's driven some great races, he's a strong driver, he'll never give up, and he makes very few mistakes, so let's not criticise the odd one that happens.
And Montoya's misdemeanour?
Really have to leave the driver to determine whether it's red or not, and he missed it. Joined really the pack very slowly, and you could have, the safety car was going slowly, the car was going slowly. You've got to look at, as far as I'm concerned, you know, was that in any shape or form dangerous? I don't think it was, and therefore the penalty of excluding him from the race is just incredibly severe.
Severe or not, Kimi looks happy enough. Formula One stays in North America and moves to its motorsporting home, Indianapolis. The weekend got off to a shaky start when Ricardo Zonta's Toyota suffered a tyre failure and speared off the track in Friday afternoon practice. Minutes later, teammate Ralf Schumacher slammed into the wall at turn 13 due to another left-hand rear tyre failure. The incident was almost identical to the one he had last year that kept him out for 6 races. Unbelievably, he walked away from the wreckage unharmed, which is more than can be said for his car. It looked as though the incidents were not due to driver error. There had been an unexplained drop in pressure on the Michelin tyres. Could they withstand the pressure, particularly through the recently resurfaced famous banked oval, the fastest part of the track? On Saturday morning, Michelin wrote to the FIA saying that they did not have total assurance that all tyres that qualified the cars could be used unless the vehicle speed in turn 13 could be reduced. Meetings took place throughout the weekend, discussing ways of slowing the cars down, such as creating a chicane in turn 13.
Hi Jensen, you're driving this afternoon?
Time is ticking by, and no such undertaking has been received to resolve the problem in turn 13. At 12:35, the 6 Bridgestone runners make their way onto the grid as normal, while the dialogue continues.
For your information, Peter just called me at the moment discussions are still going on, and none of the Michelin teams will leave to the grid until there is a final decision.
12:39, and they remain in the garage. Will they race under speed restrictions, a chicane? Eventually, the Michelin runners make their way onto the grid. Bridgestone opted for a more conservative tyre, knowing that the high-speed sections of the circuit can cause high tyre wear. With less than 20 minutes to the formation lap, at least they've made it. And with 73 laps ahead, the tension is mounting. The drivers are always geared up for racing. And Formula One needs to win over the massive US market. (12:56), and it looks like the decision has been made. Now it's time for the racing to begin. Toyota's first pole position comes courtesy of Trulli. With Raikkonen next to him, there could be quite an interesting outcome. The cars make their way round the formation lap, and trying to warm their tyres and brakes for the start. But no, Schumacher continues round, but Alonso's taken to the pit lane. All the Michelin runners are going back to their garages. Two Ferraris, two Jordans and two Minardis. Barrichello makes a move on his teammate, while Albers is up to fourth behind Montero. Meanwhile, the Michelin runners just stand back and watch. It's a disappointing conclusion.
Regrettably, the Michelin teams could not participate in the race. We've got to look at the safety of our drivers. I believe that the Michelin teams offered a whole variety of compromises, including handicapping themselves to help this race take place, providing there was a chicane in place.
Montero pits. The Jordan mechanics don't miss a stroke, and he's looking good for a podium finish. It should be a good haul of points for Minardi as well. Christian Albers is fifth, ahead of his teammate Patrick Friesacker. Michael is leading the race, but Ross Brawn still keeps a watchful eye on proceedings. Everything looks okay, but he's got a battle on his hands. Barrichello has already stopped. And it's Rubens who has to take evasive action. Tomorrow's headlines will be bad enough without the Ferraris taking each other out. Now there's debris on the track, and it hasn't come from the cars.
Despite all of the Michelin's efforts to find a solution with the Speedway, with the FIA and the Bridgestone runners, the selfishness of some has been the cost of the majority, and you know, that's why the fans are showing their disgust by throwing stuff on the track, and I'm very sorry for them.
Others mark their anger by leaving the circuit early. Karthikeyan fans have finally got something to smile about. India's finest looks good for fourth. Flavio livens things up and makes an early prediction for the result.
I should show me first, Barrichello said. You want to bet?
Ferrari live up to expectations as Michael Schumacher leads Barrichello to the checkered flag. Followed by the two Jordans. Flavio may have predicted the result, but the smart money was on this man. All six cars finished. It's Michael's first win of the year. Montero takes the first Portuguese podium in F1, while Karthikeyan scores the first points for an Indian driver. But what about Ferrari's standpoint?
I tell you one story, not so long ago. In Monza, we had the death of a marshal, and all of us drivers agreed we would want, for the first two chicanes, yellow flags. And there was no less than 2 or 3 team owners which told their drivers, you would not respect the yellow flag. Just ignore what you have maybe said or not said. We want you to race, and we force you to race. And it's the same people that have been today on the other side. So Formula 1 is a tough business. We're working very hard, and as I mentioned before, we have had a tire which is quicker. We didn't use that because of we knew what is going to face us here. I'm not saying that the others purposely choose something wrong, but whatever it is their problem, not our problem. And I don't think you can ask the people who are not responsible to take the responsibility.
Michael leaps right up to third thanks to the tyre debacle. Montero makes a giant step up with his podium result. Ferrari are back on equal terms with McLaren. Minardi and Jordan score some much needed points, leaving only BAR on the starting blocks. The return to Europe allowed for some clarification of recent events.
The fact is that if you're the sporting body, you must follow the rules and you mustn't do anything that could put the whole of your organisation, the International Federation, in jeopardy because you failed to follow your own procedures, change the circuit, something goes wrong, American judge wouldn't listen to the teams wanted to chicane. He'd say, Mr. Mosley, you're in charge, you should not have allowed it to happen. Well, we didn't allow it to happen and we all know the consequences, but it is unfortunate.
Michelin announced their intention to refund those fans who attended the US Grand Prix and that they would purchase 20,000 tickets to give away free for next year's event. With this news in mind, the paddock was keen to get back on with the business of racing. But racing was looking increasingly difficult for McLaren. Kimi suffered an engine failure in Friday practice. His third fastest time becomes 13th after a penalty. Alonso may have had a bit of trouble with the turnstiles, but he had much better luck on track to take his third pole position of the season. The Renault flags are flying high for the French Grand Prix, and with Alonso on pole, there's plenty to smile about. His title fight could be helped with Kimi back in 13th. But both drivers are on a mission to emulate 4 times world champion Alain Prost. With Trulli just behind Alonso, the time is right for an out-and-out thriller. What can Raikkonen do to fight back? Kimi's only made up 1 place so far. Has he got a heavy fuel load weighing him down? Christian Horner feels the burden when a loss of fuel pressure forces Klian to retire on lap 2. Sato has passed Barrichello but attempts to wrestle 5th from Trulli, send him into the gravel. And back down to 10th. Alonso doesn't have to worry about cars in front. There aren't any. As his fuel load burns off, Kimi finally starts to make progress through the field. Eventually the McLaren pits. He's second, thanks to a long first stint. While teammate Montoya is being hassled by his old adversary, Michael Schumacher, for 3rd place. Raikkonen's 2-stop strategy leaves him second after the pit stops. Without the penalty, he could have been leading the race. But that position is already occupied by Fernando. This is his 2nd stop, and with 30 seconds to spare, he should maintain his edge over Kimi. The pit lane speed limiter is off, and he's still in the lead. Montoya is not a fan of anything that limits his speed, but hydraulics failure forces him to switch off his engine and park his car. It's his first retirement this season, but reliability is costing McLaren dear. Off-track excursions are an expensive waste of time for Sato. Fisichella pits for the 3rd and final time. He's had a tough race thanks to a fuel rig problem and a loss of downforce. Now his engine has cut out. Unbelievable. He'll drop right back. Button won't be complaining though. He's now fourth at Fisikella's expense and looking likely to open BAR's points account for the year. Collecting points is something Renault have had plenty of practice at this season. They may be a multinational team, but it's still a perfect French finish. Alonso takes his 5th win of the season in a French car on French tyres. Well, it's almost perfect.
Fantastic. I think after Indianapolis we all wanted to see a race like this, especially for me, dominant, and I think also from Kimi, starting from the back, a lot of emotion in this weekend, and I think for the French people, for the team, even better.
But for those with no French connections, the weekend was not so good.
Of course, we noticed already on Friday after the engine failure that it really turned around our weekend, and we did the best what we could in qualifying and in the race. And okay, second place, looking on that point of view, is a good result. But we still lost the points on Alonso, and that's what we don't want to do.
Only the top 3 finished the race on the same lap. BAR scored their first points of the year. Schumacher was the main beneficiary of Montoya's failure. While a good strategy softened the blow for McLaren this weekend, they need reliability at their home event if they're to take on Renault. It's July, it's Silverstone, so all eyes are on Jenson Button.
Jenson's well better than Schumacher.
Good man, that's what I like.
2005's been a turbulent year for him, both on track and off it. But after 5 years in F1, how does he rate his time in top-level motorsport?
My career has been a little bit up and down. I mean, in 2000, when I arrived with Williams, it was fantastic. You know, I was very inexperienced there. And then I moved to Benetton for 2 years. First year was disastrous. Some of it because of the car just being very difficult to drive, but some of it just because I was so inexperienced and didn't really know where to go with the setup. And then the second year at Renault, or at Benetton Renault, it started getting better, and I got more points than my teammate, who was Trulli. And then I moved to BAR Honda, where as soon as I arrived, things stepped up another gear, really, I think, in the way that not just the way of driving, but also working with the team. And from then on, it's been very, very positive. The highlights have to be last year, getting pole position in Imola, my first pole position, and also the results we had, you know, having so many podiums. But it's nice to see that we're getting back on track with qualifying, and hopefully we can get some more podiums this year. That's my aim more than anything else at the moment.
From his reaction to his qualifying lap, you'd have thought he'd won the championship. He didn't quite make pole position, that went to Alonso. But with Raikkonen receiving a penalty for changing his engine again on Saturday morning, Jenson will start his home Grand Prix in second place. A fully packed crowd gather on a hot sunny day in Silverstone, and the battle is certainly heating up between Renault and McLaren, with Raikkonen back in 12th. But can Jenson Button get in the mix and a good result from second? The start beckons. Renault didn't expect to be strong here in Britain, so Alonso needs to keep his eye on the cars behind. Montoya makes a fantastic start and is right up there with Alonso. They're side by side. But Alonso plays safe, and it's Montoya that snatches the lead. Button falls to third, with Barrichello fourth. A wrong button for Sato leaves him stranded on the grid, and brings out the safety car. This could be the time for Fernando to get the jump on the McLaren. But Montoya is just too quick and maintains the lead. Then it's Button, Barrichello and Fisichella. Klein got the jump on Heidfeld at the start. But running wide, hands 12th over to the Williams. Montoya was called in early to avoid traffic, and now Alonso is in. Where will he rejoin? It could be close. Montoya makes his point. Alonso isn't far behind, but neither is Raikkonen. Kimi has fought back from his penalty. Now Alonso is there for the taking. But Renault don't have to worry too much as he's yet to make a pit stop. Now Kimi is in. Alonso retakes second ahead of teammate Fisichella thanks to his earlier stop. Now the second stops are approaching and Montoya still has control of the race, but Renault could put pay to that with a heavily fuelled Fisichella. His strategy looks good enough for a podium. But no! Bad luck strikes again! His engine stalls, losing him crucial amounts of time. All that hard work is wasted. And he rejoins behind Raikkonen. Back at the front, Montoya has maintained the upper hand despite Fernando turning up the heat. It's his 9th race with McLaren, and finally he gets the win he's been waiting for. Juan Pablo Montoya takes the checkered flag at Silverstone with Alonso in second. It's a satisfying sight at the team's home race. McLaren and Renault dominated the day. Jenson Button failed to maintain his qualifying pace, and only the Jordan of Narain Karthikeyan did not finish. Montoya takes the best trophy of all, with family and team there to cheer him on.
I think it's a great race, you know, it's the home race for the team and it's just amazing. I know how many fans and how many guys in my team wanted for me to do this, and it's great, you know, I'm just so pleased. It's awesome.
By Hockenheim 2004, Alonso was 5th in the championship. This year he's the favourite for the title. What's changed?
The car obviously improved a lot from last year. We have a fantastic tyres. Michelin did a fantastic job in this season, and also our rivals are not as strong as last year, like Ferrari, so everything makes very easy this year compared to last year.
Even so, Renault seemed to have made a big jump in performance. Was it a surprise?
Yeah, a little bit, yes, because we always dream to be world champion or to be at the top of the points, but it seems that never arrived that date. And in 2005 was everything fine for me. Everything works perfect, and I found myself in this position, so I'm extremely happy.
But greater track success raises the profile of a driver, and Alonso mania is reaching fever pitch.
It's quite hard now. Obviously people recognize me on the street and in the restaurants everywhere, so it becomes a little bit difficult to have some privacy, but you know, it's nice also the support that I receive from them, and it's okay.
So, how will he manage the famous Alonso wave if he takes win number 6 on Mercedes' home territory?
This is a good question that everybody's asking now, and we see probably. I have to leave the steering wheel alone for 1 second and both hands in the air.
Can Renault hold the McLaren charge in the second half of the season?
We are confident. Obviously the McLaren is still quick and will be a close fight, but we can do it.
McLaren definitely set the benchmark in qualifying. Kimi took provisional pole ahead of Button and Alonso. It was looking good for an all-McLaren front row. leaving one at the front and one at the back. The German Grand Prix has been a cause of celebration for the locals in recent years, but it's all changed this season. Their man Michael Schumacher could only manage 5th in qualifying. Brother Ralph hopes a kiss from wife Cora will boost his confidence from 12th. Pole position is the best place for Kimi Raikkonen to start if he's to reduce the gap to Alonso. Jenson Button did well here last year and could be in with a shot from 2nd, but he'll have his work cut out with Fernando right in his mirrors. Montoya, however, gets a chance to see how the other half live at the back of the grid, thanks to his mistake in qualifying. While Trulli tries his best to steal Liuzzi's best dancer in the paddock title, although the crowd seem unimpressed. Nick Fry hopes Button can get the job done. The lights are out and he's swamped by Alonso and Schumacher. They're into turn 1 and there's cars all over the place. Montoya is flying and has to use his own bit of track. Trulli's Toyota attacks the McLaren, but overcooks it instead. Smacking into the back of Fisikella's Renault could aid Sato's collision course out of F1. Luck has not been on his side this year either. Now he needs to pit for a new nose cone. End of lap 1 and Alonso has no reply to the pace of Raikkonen. Schumacher is still 3rd after his off in turn 1 and Button is 4th. But it's not good for Mark Webber. His car was damaged in the first corner melee, ending another depressing run for the Australian. The Saubers are providing the action. Massa has a look at Fisichella while Villeneuve takes a slice out of Barrichello. That hands the Jordan of Montero a welcome birthday present, but gifting positions is not what the team expects. So, Jacques makes his move and ruins Thiago's party. McLaren have got the speed. But there is one thing they lack. Reliability. Kimi's hydraulics let him down and rob him of another win. And once again, Alonso is there to reap the benefits. They might have the faster car, but it counts for nothing if it can't finish the race. Kimi's championship charge is slipping through his fingers while Fernando takes another step towards the title. And it helps put Button in a podium position. But he'd better watch out. Juan Pablo Montoya is lurking in the background. Jenson keeps his eye on Schumacher in front to secure 2nd at Ferrari's expense. Ralph pits from 4th. It was a good stop that gets him out behind Fisichella, but ahead of Coulthard. Montoya was on a heavier fuel load than his teammate thanks to his back of the grid starting position. But the strategy has paid off as he's up to 2nd ahead of Button. Fisichella is on the prowl and it's Michael Schumacher under threat. Michael has struggled with grip all race. And now a fuel feed problem helps Fisichella nip past for 4th. Renault can't believe he's still going. He's had brake problems since Sato's accident. And if they weren't happy enough, Fernando Alonso takes the final corner to win the German Grand Prix. Flavio's pleased with win number 6. And Fernando delivers his promise. to the crowd's delight. It was an inspired drive from the back of the grid for Montoya. Fisichella did well to even get his car home, never mind score points. Dornbos finished his first F1 race, albeit last. Button did well to get on the podium, but what about the differing fortunes of Renault and McLaren?
That's been a good surprise. I think the McLaren was so dominant all weekend, and now in the race we saw that we improve a little bit. We know in the race pace we are a little bit closer to them, and I think for the next coming races, obviously we have to improve our car, our package, if we want to beat them, because at the moment they are a little bit quicker than us. But again, the races is 70 laps, not 30, and we finish the races.
Reliability could be the deciding factor in this championship. So, what went wrong at McLaren?
There's simple finger trouble. There's a bleed dipple left, that worked loose in the on the internals of the gearbox.
Is that one of the cheapest parts of the car?
It's just a part that wasn't tight enough. Simple as that.
The Hungarian Grand Prix is the second race for Robert Dornbos in Formula One. The former Jordan Friday test driver replaced Patrick Friesacker at Minardi in Hockenheim. How did it feel to be with Jordan one week and their rivals Minardi the next?
For sure, it was fun to wave to my ex-teammates on the grid and say, "Hi guys, how's it going?"
So, how did the Flying Dutchman do?
First lap was very good. We were 13 and 14 in front of the Jordans, and I was in front of Villeneuve as well. And then, very unlucky, after 4 laps, I got hit from behind quite hard by Jacques, and the diffuser broke, and I got a puncture, and had to make an extra stop. Afterwards, we got a penalty as well because the team refueled the car during the tire change. So so we got a penalty, another stop and go. So basically I made 4 pit stops instead of 2, and I still managed to finish only 2 seconds behind the Jordan. So the pace in the race was very good, and also physically I was very happy to finish my first Grand Prix. And now it's going to be a lot easier, a little bit easier here, but definitely the temperature here is a lot different, so it's going to be still quite tough.
Temperatures are definitely up on Sunday, and in case your vision is obscured, that's Michael Schumacher P1, Juan Pablo Montoya P2, Jarno Trulli P3, and Kimi Räikkönen P4. The Hungarian Grand Prix is popular with the Finns, and former world champion Mika Häkkinen is one of the most famous.
First time you hold the umbrella on top of 2 good drivers.
If not the most humorous. It's Michael's first pole of the season, and he leads into the most dramatic first corner of the year. Alonso's in combat with Ralf Schumacher, while Barrichello's on a mission to self-destruct. Attack from Villeneuve proves Klein doesn't actually have wings. Alonso's about to lose his front wing. But not everyone sees the debris. DC's lucky to escape unscathed. Barrichello and Alonso pit for new nose cones. Rubens gets out first. Now Fernando joins him. Coulthard is left to pick up the pieces of a disappointing day for Red Bull. His former boss watches his drivers. Räikkönen passes Montoya rather easily. Ferrari will have their work cut out, keeping Michael ahead of Kimi and Juan Pablo. Alonso won his first race here in 2003, but there's no hope this year. He's struggling with back markers. Barrichello's having just as much trouble. Alonso makes his first scheduled pit stop and takes on more than he bargained for. It's not a good day for Renault. He rejoins behind Kimi, but he is a lap down on the fin. The heat is on, but McLaren are cool under pressure. This is Kimi's big break to reduce the gap, with Alonso well and truly out of the points. It's pit stop time again. Kimi is really pushing Schumacher. Ferrari, get ready. Michael is in. Kimi has clear track ahead and gets the hammer down. But Ferrari have turned Michael around pretty quickly. Now Kimi stops. Has he done enough? It's a good, clean stop, and he gets out well ahead of Michael. But this wasn't on the tactical agenda. Montoya slows. He's out of the race thanks to drive shaft failure. While one McLaren leads the race, the other rues the team's poor reliability record. Sauber have quite a good reliability record. Until now, Massa pits with smoke coming from his car. His spark coils are overheating, but it doesn't stop them refueling. The team do what they can, but it isn't what they want to impress their new owners for 2006, BMW. Teammate Villeneuve is not as lucky. The same problem damaged other components, but he's got further to walk. But for once, Kimi has no reliability issues. It's his fourth win in the MP420, and the team are very happy. Schumacher makes the podium for only the 5th time this season, with brother Ralph taking his first of the year. But Fernando has little to celebrate. It's the first time he's finished a race outside the points in 2005. Trulli was happy with 4th after the first lap incident. Poor tyre choice made life difficult for Button, while Heidfeld and Webber finished 5th and 6th. But Kimi is glad to be back after his non-finish in Germany.
It feels good, of course, and the best way to go for holiday, so I'm not complaining.
Obviously in July I started with 22 points gap. Now after 4 races I have 26, so has been a good month. Hopefully in Turkey we can take some more points.
Kimi has cut the gap to Fernando. Trulli moves back up to 4th, and teammate Ralph is now 6th. Renault are out of the top 8 in Budapest, so McLaren are only 12 points behind. Ferrari remain 3rd ahead of Toyota.
The story of 2005 concludes in part 3 of the season review. F1's next stop is a brand new circuit in Turkey, as points leader Fernando Alonso aims to fend off an on-form Kimi Raikkonen. Don't miss some classic Grand Prix racing next time here on Sky Sports F1 HD.
This is Sky Sports F1 HD.
Welcome to the final part of the 2005 F1 season review. Kimi Raikkonen took a fine victory last time out in Hungary, but with a 26-point advantage, Fernando Alonso is looking in command of the championship as the sport heads to a brand new venue.
Asia in the east and Europe in the west. Istanbul is the only city in the world which is spread over 2 continents. The meeting point between the Occident and the Orient is an exotic blend of tradition and modernity.
Really fantastic. You can see everything in one track. You can see Suzuka, you can see Spa.
Could be my favorite track in Formula 1.
Welcome to Turkey!
Kimi Raikkonen is the final man out on track for qualifying at the Istanbul Park. See the circuit for the very first time from his perspective. Istanbul has been the capital of 3 great empires. Now it joins the Formula 1 fraternity. Kimi Raikkonen will lead the field from the grid, followed by Giancarlo Fisichella. Then Fernando Alonso, and completing the Renault and McLaren lineup, it's Juan Pablo Montoya. Expectations are high. The circuit has the potential to provide some excellent racing. For the first time in Turkey, they're off. Raikkonen surrounded by the Renaults, and Fisi does it. Massa's got problems at the back, and Michael can do nothing to avoid the flyaway front wing. The championship battle takes to the track, but Fernando can't make the move stick. Raikkonen's pushing, so when Fisichella makes a mistake on the exit of turn 10, he seizes the opportunity. Now both Renaults are going for it. The McLaren is engulfed. But not that easily overwhelmed. Alonso rarely misses a gear. But his teammate is holding him back.
Fernando, you're faster than Fizzy, overtake him.
Button qualified 13th, and now he's giving Coulthard some serious hassle. Down the start-finish straight, Button completes the move. But Webber's having problems getting the job done thanks to a right rear puncture. Sam Michael gives him the once-over, and he's back in the hunt. Now Button disposes of Klian's Red Bull with ease. Webber's back in the race and wants to unlap himself from Schumacher's Ferrari. Big mistake.
some point at mid-corner. I got a bank from the rear. I haven't seen the videos about it, but I would suspect that he wasn't really next to me to take the corner.
I got really well in there in the braking area. Then I thought he's coming across, and I'm trying to get back out then, and then I couldn't get my front wheel back out from behind his rear wheel. So sometimes, even when he's in the he doesn't like to be overtaken. So, but that's why he's probably a good champion.
In his position, I don't think how much it sends it made to go for an attack like this, because one lap down, you're never going to make up this ground.
Button's making up plenty of ground as he's yet to pit. Now he's in. His start wasn't great, but he's worked his way up to third. Now he's got to do it all over again from ninth. Montoya's in for his first scheduled stop. It looks okay, he's set to go, but no! The fuel rig gets stuck! It's a disastrous day for Williams. 2 punctures for Webber, his collision with Schumacher, and now Heidfeld suffers a right rear tyre failure. What is going on? Raikkonen leads through turn 8. Kimi has Montoya between himself and Fernando. Can the second round of pit stops change that? Alonso pits. But there's more trouble with back markers. Montero and Montoya get in a tangle. The McLaren rejoins and the car seems okay. But running wide at turn 8 gifts second to Alonso. It's a good result, but it should have been better. Kimi delights the crowds to claim the first victory in Turkey. Alonso finishes second. But Kimi's confused.
Played on the last lap then, because Montoya was second.
Yes, Kimi, he was. He was struggling with a flat spotted tyre and it got away from him, and Alonso was able to take the place.
Yeah, it's pretty tough race, you know. The pits, they lifted the lollipop and suddenly they dropped it back at the end. I think it was good that I didn't took my hand off the clutch. I managed to bring it back in straight away. And then, I was just cruising to the end. And then I passed Montero on the straight, got in front of him, braked, and he just ran in the back of me. Those guys, they never look.
Montoya passes me, and he just comes back in front of me on the braking zone. We talked so many times about not moving on the braking zone, and the first thing he does, at two laps to the end, while he's fighting for second place, he just puts it in front of me.
But it was on the next lap that Alonso took advantage.
Until the last lap, you never know, and it's true that I overtook Montoya thanks to this, but also because I was there. If I was 1 minute behind Montoya, he had the space enough to finish second, so I pushed all the race and this paid off at the end.
The finishing order was different to the grid, but Renault and McLaren still occupy the top 4 places. Button finished 5th, while Dornbos gets his best result so far. Kimi has taken 2 points out of Alonso's lead, and the McLaren is looking increasingly like the car to beat. The Italian Grand Prix would have been Nick Heidfeld's 100th F1 race had it not been for a testing accident the week before. He will be replaced by Williams test driver Antonio Pizzonia. But another engine change for Kimi Raikkonen on Saturday means he will relinquish pole with yet another 10-place penalty. So, what should have been an all-McLaren front row becomes a possible Renault gain. The fastest circuit on the calendar is home to Ferrari and their devoted fans, the Tifosi. But there's little for them to smile about, with Michael Schumacher's 6th and Rubens Barrichello behind in 7th. With its long straights and tight corners, the circuit is a challenge for the most powerful and reliable engines. Kimi's penalty elevated Alonso and Button, but they can do nothing about Montoya ahead. It's anyone's game into the first chicane. DC makes contact with Fisichella, then Webber taps the Red Bull. Kimi keeps clear of the debris, but Karthikeyan's left at the back of the pack. McLaren keep an eye on Kimi's progress. But it's not as good as they hoped. He can't find a way past Jacques Villeneuve. While teammate Montoya is increasing his lead over Alonso. Fernando is in for his first stop from 2nd. Catching Montoya looks like a hopeless task. He needs to keep his focus on the other McLaren. Ralph and Kimi are into the final corner. Where will Fernando rejoin? It's going to be so close. He's behind Ralph, but crucially ahead of Raikkonen. Kimi is lighter on fuel and yet to make a stop. Alonso knows this and doesn't go defensive. Fisichella's in from 2nd. He's doing well after lining up 8th on the grid. But Ferrari are having a bad day. Rubens got the jump on Michael at the start. Now they're battling each other, but they're not even in the points. Everyone else has pitted, now it's Kimi's turn. The one-stop strategy has worked well so far. But there's a problem with the left rear tyre. After only 3 laps, Kimi must pit for repairs. The damaged tyre is replaced and Kimi can rejoin the race, but his championship charge looks to be in the same state as his tyres. Things haven't gone well for BAR either. Sato had fuel rig problems earlier. Now his battle with Mark Webber goes to the pits. The Williams is rather keen to get away, leaving the Lollipop Man wondering why he bothers. They're side by side in the pit lane. Who gets it? Into turn 1, it's Webber. Kimi's terrible afternoon continues with a spin. Trulli is quick to take what's on offer. But Kimi is a fighter, and there's more points up for grabs. Trulli has no chance. But there are concerned looks at Michelin. And here's why. Montoya has the same problem with his left rear tyre as Kimi. The race leader is struggling with grip. Will he pit and hand the win to Alonso, or can he make it to the end of the race? Surely memories of Kimi's last lap failure at the Nürburgring can't be far away. They can't be far away for Flavio. Another race win could be on the cards. But not today. Montoya won his first F1 race here in 2001, and now he's led every lap of this one to win the Italian Grand Prix again. "20 cars started and 20 cars finished. No points for Ferrari, and without his tyre problems, Kimi could have been second. There weren't enough laps for Fernando to take advantage of the McLaren, but at least he's ahead of Kimi and extends his championship lead. Connie congratulates her husband, but it could have been commiserations.
Yeah, it was tough. You know, I got to a point I thought, it can't be happening. You know, again, another one. But it was, the tire managed to hold on there, and I think we were quick enough all the race that, the gap we opened, it was good enough for that.
Being a family man these days, is Juan Pablo worried about the consequences of a tyre failure?
You hit something, you get out of the car, you go home all off. But, I'm going home happy, and I won the race.
Fisichella helps Renault's constructors charge and gains the crowd's approval. He's the first Italian to stand on the podium of his home Grand Prix since Michele Alboreto in 1988. The historic Belgian Grand Prix at Spa follows straight after Monza. The final round of the European season brings the news that Red Bull Racing have purchased 100% of the shares in Minardi. The team, founded by Giancarlo Minardi, made its Formula One debut in 1985. Over the years, they've struggled financially, but have always raced with dignity and to the maximum level possible, whilst maintaining the spirit of the sport. One of the team's highest points came in Australia 2002, when Mark Webber finished his home Grand Prix in 5th. Minardi has demonstrated a remarkable ability to spot talented young racers and prepare them to become race winners, such as Jarno Trulli, Giancarlo Fisichella, and, of course, Fernando Alonso started his F1 career with Minardi in 2001. 4 years on, he's a little less fresh-faced, but he's on the brink of becoming Spain's first Formula One world champion. But it was Fisichella that should have followed the McLarens on the grid had it not been for an engine change on Saturday morning. It's the first wet race of 2005 and Montoya's on pole for the second time in a week. Kimi's under threat from Trulli. Alonso tries to go round the outside while Montoya has it all under control. They've made it round the source safely and already Juan Pablo is pulling away. Then it's Raikkonen, Trulli and Alonso. But something's happened. Fisichella's had a massive shunt at Eau Rouge. He had a good start after his 10th-place penalty, but lost it at the fastest part of the track. He's fine, but his race is well and truly over. The safety car means pit stops. McLaren prepare for both drivers. Montoya's in first and stays with intermediate tyres and takes on fuel. But the rest of the cars still haven't made it into the pits, thanks to Kimi. Now the safety car is in. Montoya has an easy lead, but it's Kimi that needs to win the race. Villeneuve didn't pit and is up to second, but quickly falls back to fourth. Things have gone from bad to worse at Ferrari. Schumacher's locked in an unfortunate embrace with Sato's BAR. Michael is furious. He had hoped to exploit the adverse weather conditions, but Sato, with cold tyres and cold brakes, could do nothing to avoid him and will receive a 10-place grid penalty in Brazil for causing the accident. Takuma is keen to give Michael a little more space off the track. Two former teammates are going into combat. Villeneuve versus Button. But Jensen has the measure of Jacques. Toyota have got problems though. Ralph made the change to dry tyres too soon, and this was the result. He returns to the pits for intermediates. Villeneuve's having a spirited race. Now he enters into some lively wheel banging with Karthikeyan. Leaving the Jordan to do his own thing. Montoya leads his teammate. They could be heading for the first McLaren 1-2 in 5 years. Alonso pits. He's taking on fuel and changing tyres. While Kimi is stuck in traffic and losing time. He's kept on pushing, and now he pits. His tyres are almost slicks. But the team are confident he's done enough. Kimi had more fuel on board than his teammate, and now he leads the race. There's one BAR and one Ferrari left. Button takes on Barrichello. And wins. Pittonia's in and makes the change from intermediates to dry tyres. Ralph changed too soon. Have Williams made the same mistake? Ferrari don't seem to think so and make the switch for Barrichello. Renault couldn't decide whether to lose time changing to dry tyres, but the pace of Klian's Red Bull suggests they should have. Another incident. Montoya's in the tyre wall. Pittonia was trying to unlap himself on dry tyres, but collided with the McLaren. Leaving Montoya to stand back and watch as his teammate takes the last few corners towards another victory in Belgium. With Alonso second, the championship is not quite over. Not just yet, anyway. Once again, Kimi is the king of Spa, ensuring the title fight will go to Brazil. Button was third, Villeneuve sixth. Montero rounds off the top 8, while Red Bull get their first engine failure of 2005 for Coulford. But there were no points for Montoya or Pittonia.
You know, the goal was for Kimi to win the race, not myself today, to be honest, to help the team and help Kimi. And we, you know, it looked pretty much as planned. But I'm not sure if he came out of the pits or something, because his pace before that was quite slow. So I'm not sure what happened. And when I went into turn 12, and he just ran straight into my right rear corner, not even the side or anything, you know.
The slicks were so much quicker. I felt like it was a lot quicker than Juan. He braked really early, so I thought he was trying to let me by. Put the car next to him, he obviously didn't see me. I tried to stop the car, but unfortunately I couldn't avoid the crash.
Raikkonen has a tough job ahead if he's to stop Alonso. Outgoing champion Michael Schumacher is third, with Montoya fourth. Ferrari will not win the Constructors' Championship for the first time since 1999. Whether it is Renault or McLaren is anyone's guess. Sao Paulo could set the stage for the crowning of a new world champion. Alonso will take the title if he finishes on the podium. Raikkonen will try and take the fight to Japan. Who will be the man to assume Michael Schumacher's crown?
Both of them deserve to win the championship. They've both done a great job. They're great drivers. I feel a little bit sorry that I haven't been able to push them a little bit harder.
Montoya set provisional pole early in qualifying. Alonso was the penultimate driver out. And he went quicker. But what about Kimi? The last man out made an early mistake. 0.7 of a second is the difference between the front row and the third. Kimi has got a tremendous fight on his hands if he's to beat this man. The top South American driver in Sao Paulo is second-placed Montoya. He could be the man to spoil Alonso's party. But Fisichella is just behind in third and has a crucial role to play. Kimi has it all to do from fifth. He needs to win. While Alonso has it all to lose from pole. He must finish on the podium if he's to become champion. The lights are out and Raikkonen easily disposes of Jenson Button. He's quickly on Fisichella's tail. Giancarlo does his best. But Kimi's all over him. The Renault can't hold him back any longer. But what's happened? The safety car is out. Pizzonia's getting out of a badly damaged car. Antonio headed straight for the space in front but was hit by a charging Coulthard and speared into his teammate Webber. He didn't even make it to turn one at his home Grand Prix. It marks the end of a disastrous weekend for Coulthard. Webber, however, makes it back to the pit lane, and Patrick Head remains optimistic. He's not the only one keen to resume racing. The McLaren is right on the back of the Renault's rear wing. But Alonso remains unfazed. The green light to start racing has been given. Montoya is closing on the leader just like in 2001, but Fernando won't be intimidated and he needs to play safe. A small slide and Alonso is compromised. Montoya seizes the moment. Juan Pablo is edging away, but Kimi is stuck behind Fernando. Renault hope to fight the McLarens, but it's becoming clear that they can't keep up with their pace. Trulli's had a frustrating weekend. An engine change on Saturday, a near miss with Pizzonia at the start, and only now he manages to overtake Karthikeyan for 12th. The pit stops have started and Fernando is in. 5 laps later, and it's the leader who stops. Kimi's able to stay out much longer than Fernando. He had more fuel in qualifying. This is where he can make the difference. Now it's time for Raikkonen's pit stop. There's Montoya. Kimi's not managed it. He's ahead of Alonso, but this is not what he wanted. Even with Kimi in front, Fernando is in the right position for the title. Dornbos was running well until a broken oil pipe forced him to a smoky end. Barrichello and Button will be teammates next year, so there could be some psychological games at play. It's time for the second round of pit stops. McLaren versus Renault. Lap 48 and Alonso is first in. 6 laps later, Montoya stops. Once again, Kimi stays out longer. Lap 59 and finally Kimi pits. There's nothing in it. But Juan Pablo's middle stint was too good. Flavio's relieved that it's not the lead, and Fernando is third, right where he needs to be. The team are confident he can stay there. The win could have been there for Raikkonen, but it just wasn't meant to be. For the second year running, Montoya wins in Sao Paulo. But McLaren's first 1-2 since Austria 2000 pales into insignificance in the light of this man's achievement. Fernando Alonso is the youngest Formula One world champion. Flavio spotted his talent in 2000 and now he's made it to the top. Everyone's ecstatic, but no more than the man himself. McLaren reached their 40th 1-2 finish and Michael gracefully gave up his title, but is sure to do his best to reclaim it next year. He's not the race winner, but today belongs to Alonso.
I think I'm extremely happy and it's a very emotional day for me. I came from a country with no tradition in Formula One and you know, I fight alone basically because I had not any help from anybody all my career, and I arrived in Formula One thanks to the results in the previous categories and thanks to my sponsors, and now I think this title is the maximum I can achieve in my life, in my career, and it's thanks to 3 or 4 people, not more than that, who we fight alone always.
With 2 races to go, Alonso's points tally is impossible to beat. Raikkonen is second, while Montoya is tied with Schumacher. McLaren's strong finish means they now lead the Constructors' Championship by 2 points, leaving plenty of excitement to follow. He might be up there with the best in F1, but he doesn't forget his heritage, although in Oviedo, the champagne is replaced with cider. All eyes are on the new champion, but it must be difficult for Kimi to stand on the podium knowing he came so close.
Of course we're disappointed not to win it, but we knew that already quite many races to go, that we need so much luck to win it, and the luck hasn't been really on our side this year, so if it would be closer then yes, but now we knew it before, so okay. It's not nice to lose it, but he deserves it, so.
For once, the paddock is in agreement and everyone wants to congratulate him.
Fernando did a very good job to win when he could and finish ahead when he, finishing the podium and always scoring the points. He pretty much only did one mistake in Canada, the rest he was always there.
Renault's remarkable consistency was crucial to their achievement. Flavio wanted a title in the bag before any preparations were made to party. But while the celebrations continue long into the night, Fernando takes a moment with his dad to try and take it all in. After the partying in Brazil, F1 moves east to Japan.
Two drivers, if you would stand for a moment and shake hands. I have been asked.
Alonso's the champion, but McLaren seem to have had the faster car in the second half of the season. Does Kimi feel robbed of the title?
It's always easy to think that way, but the fact is that we were not consistent enough. We had too many problems with the car, so that's why we didn't win the championship maybe. But okay, we have a quick car, and hopefully next year we can challenge for the championship and try to win more races.
The Finns have provided two world champions in Keke Rosberg and Mika Häkkinen. Were they an inspiration to Kimi?
I think so. I never had any heroes. Of course, I was hoping for the Finnish guys to have good results in Formula 1, but that's about it, really. I ended up in Formula 1 in 2001. A big part of that was Peter Sauber to give me a chance to come, and then my manager to help me from go-karts to the Formula Renault in England, and then to Sauber. So really the story in a short way, and I'm very happy to be here.
Whether it's Formula 1 or rallying, Finland has produced a high number of top-level racing drivers like Mika Salo and J.J. Leto. What is it that makes them so quick?
Maybe something that many families living on the countryside in Finland, and then you have a chance to go on the field with the old cars when you're 10 years old or 11, 12. So for sure it helps you to learn driving the car and handling the car. So I guess it's part of that can be.
Atrocious weather during qualifying really shook up the results. Many of the top runners went out in these conditions. Montoya will start 18th, Kimi 17th and Alonso 16th. So where does that leave the Constructors' Championship?
For me, it's much more important to win the Drivers' Championship than the Construction Championship, but for sure that for the team and for Mercedes it's important to try to win it, and I think so we have the speed in the car. As long as we don't have any problems we should be okay, and we should be able to win it, but you never know, so many things can happen. So.
It's a Japanese car on pole position thanks to the weather, but the crowds only have eyes for one man. With his future in doubt, Sato needs to make an impression. Ralph stays first. Fisichella passes Button while the Red Bulls surround Sato. But Takuma makes a mistake and has to avoid the man set to replace him at BAR next year. Raikkonen is doing his best to make up ground from 17th. He makes a move on Pitsonia, but misses the chicane and loses several places. Someone's got bigger trouble ahead. It's Montoya. He's crashed in the final corner. The safety car will have to come out while the McLaren is cleared from the track. Villeneuve didn't appear to see Montoya, leaving Juan Pablo careering into the barrier. At least it's a short walk back to the garage. The racing resumes and Ralph leads Fisichella, Button, Coulthard and Webber. Missing the chicane leaves Alonso behind Clean. They've been having quite a battle, but Alonso's on the prowl and Kimi's waiting in the wings. Now Trulli takes centre stage. He's facing the wrong way on the track.
Safety car standing by.
A hopelessly ambitious move by Sato ruins Trulli's weekend. It wasn't the impact Sato hoped to make. Finally, Alonso sets Clean up for the overtake. It's a clean manoeuvre that keeps everyone happy. The safety car has ruined Ralph's three-stop strategy. He'll struggle to retake the lead of this race. The new champion is in hot pursuit of the old one towards 130R. He's got nothing to lose and takes to the outside for a stunning move. Kimi and Michael are the last of the top runners to pit. There's nothing between them. Kimi leaves first, but Michael's not got so far to go and maintains his superiority. Both have got ahead of Alonso. Michael's under threat, and Kimi's closing fast. The Ferrari just hasn't got the speed and has to relinquish fourth. It's not getting any better. Alonso's back for more, and it's at Michael's expense. The Ferrari isn't quick enough onto the final straight. Fifth goes back to Alonso. It's looking good for Renault's constructors' fight. Fisichella still leads the race. He's got Jensen Button and Mark Webber in between himself and Kimi Räikkönen. A misjudged pit stop for Albers results in a fiery moment for Minardi. Fisichella has already stopped. Now Webber and Button take time out. Problems for Button? In Monza it was Webber and Sato side by side. Here it's Button and Webber, but the result is the same. Advantage Williams. Things get worse for Button though when Alonso overtakes. Räikkönen makes his final stop from the lead. Fisichella is already through and the scene is set for a tense battle to the end. Third place is for the taking. And Alonso accepts the invite. It's all smiles at Renault, but there are some harsh words at Williams. Kimi's on the prowl and his victim is Giancarlo.
Come on, Fizzy! Come on!
It's the final lap. One of the finest moves of the season ensures Kimi takes a sensational win. He started 17th and stormed to victory. Albers did make it to the end of the race. Sato's excluded from the results for his move on Trulli, and Villeneuve receives a time penalty which drops him to 12th. That says it all.
I think this is one of the best team wins we've ever had. Probably Kimi's best drive. Great overtaking manoeuvre. You know, it's not just that it was a good overtaking manoeuvre, it was the last lap and probably the last opportunity.
It's been one of the most thrilling races of the year. Renault retake the lead at the constructors for a last race decider in Shanghai. The final round of the season is also the final chapter in the history of several famous names in the sport. After 250 races, Jordan celebrate their last day in yellow before becoming Midland F1 in 2006. Pierre Dupasquier is a very popular man in the paddock, but takes a pragmatic approach to his departure.
Every one of us leaving the paddock will say, oh, where is he? Oh, he was a good boy. Okay, that's fine, but you have no doubt about it, paddock will survive, definitely, yes.
Peter Sauber has been in Formula One since 1993, but next year BMW will take over the reins. Will today be an emotional race?
Yes, I think so. I think so. One side is a normal day, daily business, but on the other hand it's very special, yeah.
After 12 years there have been ups and downs. What was his finest moment?
The best memory, I think overall the fourth place in the championship 2001 and the 6 podiums.
Sauber and Jordan are not the only names to disappear. After 20 years, Minardi become Red Bull. Webber's 5th place in Australia 2002 must be their highest point.
A couple of laps towards the end, everybody realised that Minardi was going to score points at my hometown, Mark's hometown, and we don't keep champagne. And they went out the back, the motorhomers, to get some champagne, but before they could even go looking for it, every other team in the paddock was already on their way down. And that's what this place is all about. It's a family. We're all one big family, and that's what I'm going to miss the most is the people.
1, 2, 3!
It's round 19, the last race of Formula One's longest season. And for the final time in 2005, the cars make their way to the grid. The Constructors' title will be decided here, but Michael Schumacher and Ferrari will not be collecting any silverware today. Michael has plenty of time to reflect on what he calls their worst season in his 10 years with the team. Surely not! Michael didn't seem to notice the Minardi of Albers and drove right into him. The FIA will want to take another look at one of the most bizarre incidents of the year. The cars are wrecked nearly half an hour before the start of the race.
Michael Schumacher going to the grid. I am damaged the car. Do I need to come back to the pits for T-car? Yes, Chris. Jump out and come to the box. We'll give you the T-car.
Albers follows his team's orders. Michael struggles to make his way round, but he too has to bail. The team wonder what happened and what to do next. Time is ticking by. If the drivers are to make this race, it'll be from the pit lane. Who'd have predicted so much excitement before the start? There's still a Constructors' Championship to be decided. The last race sees the first all-Renault front row, thanks to souped-up engines. And Michael tries to remember. Mirror, signal, then manoeuvre. For the final time, they're off. Alonso blasts away while Raikkonen attacks Fisichella's second place. There's quite a queue behind Giancarlo, allowing Fernando to pull clear. McLaren hope their strategy can leapfrog them ahead, but they don't seem to be within striking distance. There's a dislodged drain cover at turn 10, but Montoya didn't see it in time. He's damaged his front right tyre. And pits for repairs. But the track needs some urgent attention as well.
Giancarlo, the safety car was out because a drain came up on the exit of turn 10. You just need to be very careful on the exit of turn 10. They've taken it away, but I don't know if that means there's a hole there or something now, so just be very careful exit turn 10, mate.
Bet Mylander didn't see this in his rearview mirror. What has happened to Michael Schumacher today? Patrick Four looks on in disbelief. Schumacher's not the only one on the sidelines. Montoya's engine has failed. Leaving Raikkonen alone to take on the Renaults and keep McLaren's constructors' fight alive. There's a massive crash further back. Karthikeyan lost control of the car at turn 13, took a huge impact and brings the safety car out for a second time. Most drivers take the opportunity to pit. Alonso still leads, but Raikkonen is pitched against Fisichella. Who will get out first? The stewards clear the remains of the debris and the racing can continue. Alonso leads, then Ralph, Massa and Klein provide a barrier against Raikkonen as they did not pit. Barrichello's been having problems with his tyres, so when he's put under pressure from the Williams of Webber, he slips right down the order. Ralph's had a good race. He didn't pit during the second safety car period. This stop leaves him fourth, for the moment at least.
Giancarlo, we have a drive-through penalty. We have a drive-through penalty. The penalty is for what we did in the pit entry, holding up, he said it's for obstructive driving in the pit entry. It no way affects the outcome of what we need today, mate, so don't panic, there's no problem.
Renault aren't convinced by the penalty, and it hands third to Ralf Schumacher. An unexpected surprise for Toyota. The last day in a Minardi has been pretty rotten for Albers, and it gives Alonso a final scare. There's been absolutely nothing lacking for Renault this weekend, or indeed this year. There may have been 2 safety car periods and a penalty, but nothing could stop them from winning the Constructors' Championship in Shanghai.
Brilliant, Fernando, absolutely fantastic, mate, absolutely brilliant job. Thanks from Renault. We are the champions! We are the champions! Thanks for a fantastic year, just absolutely mega drive, mate. Come on!
The team are right to compliment his driving rather than his singing. Ralph finishes third, Klein is a strong fifth, while Massa ends his last race for Sauber sixth. Fantastic Fernando, could have been fiery Fernando, as the V10 era ends in a slightly smoky manner. It's been a very different season to those of recent times. Renault are double world champions. An historic first for the company. So the sun sets on 2005. Alonso is champion, but it could have been Raikkonen. Schumacher is lucky to stay third ahead of Montoya. Button scored all his points in the second half of the season, and Montero certainly earned his most reliable rookie title. Wirtz scored more points in one race than several drivers did all year, but it's been disappointing for Sato. Robert Dornbos was the only driver not to score. The Constructors' title was decided by 9 points. The last time Ferrari finished third was 1995, but it's Toyota's best year so far. Jordan and Minardi scored points, but hope to move further up the grid with their new names next year. It's been a tremendous team effort. Fisichella was the man to kickstart Renault's charge with the win in Australia. Once Alonso was on the attack, no one could stop him from wrapping up the title in what some consider to be the most exciting season of recent times.
Has it? I don't know. I think it's still the same as it has always been in a way. It's just different teams at the front now.
You know, I've been out there going round in circles, so I haven't really been watching the races.
Formula One is always exciting.
Always points.
In Hungary, where I rolled the car, but it's all racing.
One was Turkey, Spa, and Monza.
Probably Nürburgring first corner with Montoya.
It was Monaco, very disappointing there because we genuinely had a car that was capable of being on the podium, and then Michael hitting the back off me, of which he still never apologised.
Probably the first 8 races.
It's disappointing not to win the championship.
Crashing with my teammate in Monaco, yeah, that was a low point. I think there's been several high points.
I think it was Canada when I finished fourth.
There was the points in Australia at the first race.
When I found out that I was definitely going to be under. Brazil, Spa, Imola and Hungary,
Malaysia, Turkey.
I have to say my podium.
Well, exciting. I guess the championship has been fun to watch for everybody.